Hey guys, it's Adam here from Tona boards. I've been getting a lot of questions lately about our boards since the word is out that we have a couple more coming down the pipes. So I'm here in Florida with Dre. The two of us are on our way home to Antigua. Stopped off at the shop in Florida by Dereck, and we figured it's a good time to address some of those questions and give you guys some answers. So one of the more common ones that I get is what makes Tona unique? What's different about you guys? What's special about your company? And when I hear that, I think the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that we have Dereck on our team. It's pretty unique to have someone who's been shaping for over 20 years as one of the owners. As you know, it's the three of us that are involved in this, and we're all pretty intimately involved in the entire process of making a board. We're focused on boards right now, and we have no deadlines, so what we do is when we come up with an idea or a concept for a board, we don't put any deadlines on it. We just give ourselves as much time as we want to work on prototypes, test them to the fullest until we're really happy with it before we try to put it into production. So you can be pretty much guaranteed that any board that we come out with has been put through the ringer and it's going to be a pretty sweet feeling board. So while we're here, we're going to address a few more questions that have been coming up. One of them being what's the difference between the pop and the flow, which you know is going to be Dre's pro model. So while we have Dre and Dereck here, what I'm going to do is poke into the shop and ask them some questions and have Dre and Dereck directly address some of those questions that you guys have been asking. So here we're going to take a quick little peek inside to see what's going on. Dereck is working on a board, a surfboard for one of our young riders in Barbados, Chelsea. So we're going to just disturb them for a minute and get some answers out of them. First I'll give you a little quick look through the porthole.
This is what it feels like, that's what it looks like, this is the way it is, you know, and then if you get a chance to try it as well, that's even better. Yeah.
So let's go inside and see if we can get some answers for you guys.
Awesome. That thing, girl.
Cool. Alright, so here we are in the shaping room with Dereck and Dre. So I'm going to let Dre kind of tell you a little bit about the flow. Maybe we can get that board up here. Chelsea, I promise we won't chip your blank in the process. Alright, so Dre, when you spoke to Dereck about what you wanted to get out of this board, what were some of the strong points that you pointed out to him that you hadn't got in some of your previous boards that you wanted to get out of this one?
Well, as you guys know, I'm pretty anal about the way a board feels underneath my feet.
Yes, we do.
And with my background of windsurfing and wakeboarding and surfing, having surfing real close to my heart, I feel like I wanted a board that was just a lot more flowy, a lot more carvy and surfy. So along with that, I really also wanted really good pop, really soft landings, and a board that was just nice and smooth through the chop.
Right.
So this is kind of what came out.
So Dereck, with all these numerous demands, what did you come up with when Dre told you that? With this unique bottom design, because it is a pretty unique design here.
Well, when he said he wanted a more surfy feel, it's important to go from rail to rail smoothly. The transition from one end to the X is very important. So I had to move away from the elongated channels from previous boards to sort of soften up the ride. So what we have here is a concave system. I start off with a double concave at the tail. As you see, it comes forward into a single concave where my fingers are, is where the concave meets the bottom, and it kind of narrows out to an hourglass figure, and then it comes back again off the tip of the board.
Right.
So what that does now, it's more of a gradual transition across the board. When the water moves across the board, the concaves get deeper as they go towards the tip. So going from rail to rail is a lot smoother. It's not as locked in a set of channels.
Right. No, I was there when Dre tested the first prototype, and I remember him coming back to the beach and being pretty blown away at how much grip he got out of this board, even without the channels and this kind of subtle concave. So how would you say you got that much grip out of it without going with deep channels?
Yeah, well, the demands are pretty high. You really wanted to have that lock-in feel. Now that single concave out the back, you actually start off with the design as a single concave, and then I realized that we needed more grip, so I added a double concave, which adds this rib down the middle here. So basically it splits the water out more, gives you a little bit more wetted surface. And that with that now, the concave is also a little sharper where it meets the bottom of the board here. So as you put back foot pressure onto the tip of the board, you can lock in as much as you want. As you come forward and ride the board up more of the center, the gradual area, it becomes more flowy side to side. So you can have the lock in that you need if you want to put the pressure on, and also you can control as much lock as you want. You know, so I think we kind of got it with the double concave off the transom.
All right. Any other little characteristics about the board you wanted to point out, Dre?
Softer landings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big demand, you know.
Yeah.
Gotta save the knees.
Right.
Yeah. So when you wanted to softer landings now, you know, it kind of came together for me because having the washout of the hourglass concave, what it does is create a flat section in the middle, but there's a bump, there's an increased rocker right in the center, which helps channel the water out both sides of the hourglass concaves. So what that does, if you land flat, hard and fast, it kind of disperses the energy out towards the tips. And it has a pretty good rocker line as well, so that helps you, you know, soften the landings. And from what he says, he thinks it's working.
Right. So how about the flex on this board when it comes to like riding rails and stuff? Was anything?
This board has really good flex, which works out really well on the rails. You can really lean over the nose and get your presses on.
Right.
But the great thing is it's quite stiff in between your legs, so you're not getting any negative flex with the board bowing up underneath you. So the center of the board is quite rigid, but it softens out as you get towards the tips, and that's just really good for presses and hitting rails.
Right.
From a designer's point of view, it's important for me that the board maintains its integrity for the design. If the board was to lose its rocker line in the center, those concaves can actually work negative against you. So with the concaves on the bottom, it has to work with the flex to make sure that you achieve the overall design concept. And I think, you know, keeping it stiffer between the feet positions does that.
Right. I think that addresses all the questions we've got so far. Is there anything else you guys wanted to mention about these boards real quick before we go?
I'd just like to mention that all of our boards are designed to feel good. As I say, like, you know, we're pretty anal about the way boards feel. So we go out there and we tweak and we design and we test. And we like to test our boards with boots as well as straps. And we like our boards to feel good no matter how you're attached to the board itself. So yeah, you know, throw some boots on it, throw some straps on it, and go and enjoy the ride, really.
All right, sweet. I think we got what we needed here. What we'll do is once we get back to Antigua, we'll kind of hand it over to Jake and let him run us through the pop and point out some of the strong points of the pop so the viewers out there kind of know the difference between the two boards. So that's it. Thanks a lot, guys.
Cool. That's good.
See ya.
Later.
Hey guys, we're back here in Antigua with Jake and the pop. I'm going to give you guys a bit of information about the design of this board, but before we get into that, I'll let Jake point out a couple of things that he likes about it since it is his board.
Alright, well, as the name says, it has mad pop, but it's also fast and goes up in really well. Like my style of riding, I really enjoy hitting rails, obstacles, bonking off rocks, sliding up the beach, and basically my board takes a beating. But with this board, I never have to worry about it breaking down on me, and all around it's just a super fun board to ride.
Yeah, those are some of the strong points. When we started designing this board, we really wanted to come up with something unique. And one thing that Dereck stressed was he wanted to get really deep channels, because a lot of the boards back then that had channels had, you know, fairly shallow ones. They were more cosmetic than anything else. So he wanted to make channels that were deep and really function, something you could really feel without fins when you're riding, you know, on the rail. You just really feel them lock in. So we got that with the thicker wood core. It allowed us to go pretty deep with the channels. And that thicker core also allowed us to soften the rail up a bit. We rounded these rails at the center of the board and they get sharper as you go towards the tips. So that softens the ride a bit, but still gives you the grip on the tail that you need. You'll notice that the bottom of the board has a nice double concave that softens your landings a little bit and also gives you some extra grip. It sort of complements the deep channels and really gives you that locked in feel when you set the board on the rail. If you follow the double concave from the center out towards the tips, you'll notice that it's flat at the very ends. And what that does is it just helps water release off the board really easily. And you're going to notice that you get a nice pop off of water, whether it's, you know, flat water tricks or off of wave kickers. you're going to get that nice clean release off the water. And that's what inspired the name for us, was when we were testing the prototypes that really stood out to us, and we decided to go with pop for the name. You'll also notice that these channels here are made just for the fins, these long fins that we use. They're quite long and shallow, and that gives you a lot of grip. Even though the fin is quite shallow, you'll see that there is still a lot of surface area, so you're not losing any grip with those shallow fins. And the fact that they are shallow allows you to ride them up onto the beach, you know, without worrying about breaking them off. You can even go off a kicker with that, and you don't have to worry about the fins snapping off. So that's a pretty cool feature with those fins. Jake mentioned that he likes to ride up on the beach and bonk off rocks and stuff, really put his board through the ringer. We go with a UHMV sintered base. It's a tough material that's pretty common in the wakeboarding world, not very common in the kiteboarding industry, but we go with that base material, and it's tough, you know, it's been holding up. We've tested it and it's just really tough, so you guys can, you know, test it out, tell us for yourselves what you think. And that's one thing we really like to do, is let people test our boards and give us lots of feedback. So if you have a Tona rep in your area, or even someone at the beach you know that has a Tona pop or a flow, give it a test ride. You'll feel the difference between the two boards. They're both very unique. And give us your feedback, let us know what you think. You know, this board was inspired by you guys, the public. We took a lot, you know, we put feelers out there to hear what the public wanted out of their boards, and we kind of took those ideas and put it all together and came up with this design. So this board is kind of inspired by you guys. So give us your feedback, and you never know, you know, maybe you'll help us inspire a third board to our line, to our twin tip line. So yeah, get out there, try out a Tona board, and let us know what you think. Peace.